graders, welcome back. My name is Mrs. Tilley and I'm so excited to be learning with you today. Today we are completing CKLA Skills Unit 3 Lesson 13 and our objective for the lesson is I can write pronouns using correct subject-verb agreement. The materials you'll need for this lesson are your skills workbook, pencil, and a piece of paper. Let's start by reviewing what we've already learned. In the last lesson, we learned about pronouns, and a pronoun is a part of speech that takes the place of a noun. Remember, every pronoun always refers to a specific noun. When a pronoun is the subject of the sentence, it's called a subject pronoun. We've talked about subject pronouns and how they can be singular or plural, like with I, you, he, she, it, meaning just one noun or a singular noun. Or plural, like we, you, meaning more than one person, or they. Today we're going to learn about a new part of speech. Think back to what you already know about action verbs. What are they? Right, remember, action verbs are words that show actions. And remember, the subject is who a sentence is about. The verb is the action in the sentence. The subject and the verb must work together to agree. And this part of speech we call subject-verb agreement. Let's dive in. Today we're going to add the action verb add to our chart. Right, guys, we're adding the verb add to our chart. I know that sounds confusing, but bear with me. This is going to be good. All right, so we're going to look at how action verbs work together with pronouns in order to make subject-verb agreement. Let's take a closer look. With our singular pronouns, we have I, you, he, she, it. Let's add the verb add to our chart. I add, you add, he, she, it adds. For plural, we have we add, you add, they add. Are all of the forms of the verb add the same? No. Take a look down here. Notice how with this singular subject pronoun, we added an S to the end of the verb. Now let's take a look at other action verbs to see if the pattern continues with he, she, and it. I add, bake, call, drop. I bake, I call, I drop. That makes sense. You add, you bake, you call, you drop. We add, we bake, we call, we drop. You add, you bake, you call, you drop. They add, they bake, they call, they drop. He, she, it adds, bakes, calls, drops. He bakes, he calls, he drops. Notice with he, she, and it, we're adding the suffix again to the end of each action verb. And this is the only subject pronoun that this occurs with. Now let's take a look at what happens when our pronouns he, she, and it are actually written as nouns. Do you predict that the action verb will continue using the suffix at the end? Let's take a look. He adds. What if he adds was Paul adds? Yeah, that makes sense. Would it make sense if it was Paul add? What if it was Paul add 2 numbers? Does that make sense? No. So notice, we still need the suffix on the end of our action verb. What about she adds? What if this was the girl adds? Think about it if it was add. The girl add 2 numbers? That doesn't make sense. The girl adds 2 numbers makes perfect sense. So again, notice, we're adding the suffix S at the end of the action verb. It adds. The rabbit adds. That makes sense. What if it was the rabbit add? The rabbit add carrots to its pile? The rabbit add? That doesn't make sense. The rabbit adds carrots to its pile. That makes sense. So remember, anytime we have he, she, or it, we add the suffix S to the end of the action verb, and that is subject-verb agreement. Now let's look at some other action verbs to see if the pattern continues. Notice how with our singular pronoun I, we have march, mix, pass, and wash as the action verbs, and they all stay the same. The same is true with the plural pronoun we. Notice how all of the action verbs remain march, mix, pass, and wash. The same is true with our singular you and our plural you. All of the action verbs stay in the same form. But look over here at our singular he, she, and it. What do you notice is different about the forms of these verbs? Right, we've added not just s, but es. Do you guys remember why we would add the suffix es to the end of these words? Remember that words that end in ch, x, s, or sh use the suffix es. Let's take a look at some other action verbs. I cry, fly, dry. Notice with the singular pronoun I, the form of cry, fly, and dry stays the same. It also stays the same with the plural form we. The same is true with the singular you and plural you. The action verbs stay the same form, cry, fly, and dry. And notice this is the same with the plural pronoun they. Cry, fly, and dry all remain the same form. But notice he, she, it, the form changes again. So the verb changes from cry to cries, and fly to flies, and dry to dries. And notice the suffix. What is the suffix in each of these words? Right, ies. Remember, anytime a word ends in y, we have to trade the y for an I before adding es. Nice job. All right, we have learned so much about subject-verb agreement. I think it's time for us to take a little brain break. All right, I want you guys to stand on up out of your chairs, and we're going to get some of the wiggles out by doing some exercises together. We're going to do jumping jacks, and we're going to practice our skip counting by twos. Are you ready? Here we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Nice job. Now we're going to do it again, but this time we're going to skip count by 5s to 20. Are you ready? 5, 10, 15, 20. Now I've got an extra challenge. Can you guys skip count backwards from 20 by 5? Are you ready to try? Let's do it. 20, 15, 10, 5. Nice job. That was really tough. Can you skip count backwards from 10 down to 2? Are you ready to try? 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Nice job. I really got my brain thinking. It was tough. Okay, let's have a seat and get back to work. Now, open up your workbook to page 14.1 and put your name at the top of your paper. For this activity, we're going to insert the correct present tense form of the verb in the following sentences. For example, Joan fixes the sandwiches. We fix the salad. He fixes his hair. We have to make sure that our action verbs agree with our subject. Now it's our turn to practice. Let's put the correct form of toss into these sentences. I blank the ball in the air. I toss the ball in the air. Remember, each one of these is the present tense form of the verb. Pat tosses the salad in the bowl. Remember, because it's a he, she, or it, we add the suffix to the end of the action verb. And because it ends in s, we add es. We blank the newspaper in the recycling bin. Right, we toss the newspaper. Let's do the same with the verb wash. Sally blank her hair. Right, Sally washes. Remember, if it's he, she, or it, we add the suffix to the end. The kitten blanks her muddy paws. The kitten washes. Why did we use the form washes? Right, because it's he, she, or it, and we had to use the suffix es because the word ends in sh. They blank the car. Right, they wash the car. Now it's your turn to practice. I want you to try 3 on your own and pause the video. When you're ready to check, press play and we'll check it together. Welcome back. Let's check number 3 together. The verb is soak. I blank my hurt knee. I soak my hurt knee. She blanked the casserole dish. She soaks. Remember, he, she, or it, we have to add the suffix. We blank the dirty clothes. We soak the dirty clothes. That makes sense. Make sure you filled in all the blanks on your paper and feel free to use the rest of the worksheet as extra practice so you can become a pro with subject-verb agreement. We've worked really hard today learning all about subject-verb agreement, and I'd love to know how you're feeling about it. Are you feeling red, confused about anything we've talked about today? Yellow, still need a little more help? Or green, you've got subject-verb agreement and you're ready to move on. Remember, if you're feeling red or yellow, to let your teacher know so they can help you be a pro with subject-verb agreement. I can't wait to see you guys for the next lesson. Bye, guys!